Hello, I'm Philip Sneller. Welcome to Window on the Word. Today let's listen together to Matthew chapter 26. And it came about, when Jesus finished all these sayings, he said to his disciples, "You know that after 2 days the Passover is coming, and the Son of Man will be handed over to be crucified." Then the chief priests and the elders of the people gathered in the palace of the high priest, whose name was Caiaphas, and they plotted in order to arrest and kill Jesus by deceit. But they were saying, "Not during the festival, lest there be an uproar among the people." Now when Jesus was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, a woman approached him, having an alabaster flask of very expensive perfume, and she poured it out on his head while he was reclining at table. And when the disciples saw this, they were indignant, saying, "Why this waste? This could have been sold for a large sum and given to the poor." But when Jesus was aware of it, he said, "Why are you causing trouble for this woman? For she has carried out a good deed for me. For you always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me. For having poured out this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for burial. Truly I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what she did will also be told in memory of her." Then when one of the 12, whose name was Judas Iscariot, went out to the chief priests, he said, "What are you willing to give me if I betray him to you?" And they weighed out for him 30 pieces of silver. And from that moment he was looking for a favorable opportunity to betray him. Now on the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the disciples approached Jesus, saying, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover?" And he said, "Go into the city to a certain man, and say to him, 'The teacher says, my time is near. With you I will celebrate the Passover with my disciples.'" And the disciples did as Jesus directed them, and they prepared the Passover. And when it was evening, he reclined at table with the 12. And while they were eating, he said to them, "Truly I say to you that one of you will betray me." And being greatly distressed, they each began saying to him, "Surely it is not I, Lord." And when he answered, he said, "The one who has dipped his hand with me in the bowl, this one will betray me. The Son of Man goes just as it has been written concerning him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better if that man had not been born." And when Judas, the one who betrayed him, answered, he said, "Surely not I, Rabbi." He said to him, "You have said it." Now while they were eating, when Jesus had taken bread and had given thanks, he broke it, and when he gave it to the disciples, he said, "Take, eat. This is my body." And when he took a cup and had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you. For this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." And after they sang a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, "All of you will reject me during this night. For it has been written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go ahead of you to Galilee." And when Peter replied, he said to him, "If they all reject you, I will never reject you." Jesus said to him, "Truly I say to you that during this night, before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter said to him, even if I must die with you, I will not deny you. And all the disciples said the same thing. Then Jesus went with them to a place called Gethsemane. And he said to the disciples, sit here while I go over there to pray. And having taken along Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, he began to grieve and be distressed. Then he said to them, my soul is deeply grieved, even to death. Stay here and watch with me. And when he went a little farther, he fell on his face, praying and saying, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass by me. Nevertheless, not as I wish, but as you wish. And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, so, were you not able to watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, so that you do not enter into temptation. On the one hand, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Again, having gone away for a second time, he prayed, saying, my Father, if it is not possible for this cup to pass by unless I drink it, let your will be done. And when he came again, he found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. And when he left them again, having gone away, he prayed for the 3rd time, saying the same thing. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, sleep and take your rest later. Behold, the hour has come, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let's go. Behold, my betrayer has come. And while he was still speaking, behold, Judas, one of the 12, arrived, and with him a large crowd with swords and clubs from the chief priests and elders of the people. And his betrayer gave them a sign, saying, whomever I kiss, he is the one. Seize him. And immediately when he approached Jesus, he said, greetings, Rabbi, and he kissed him. And Jesus said to him, friend, do what you came for. Then when they came up, they laid hands on Jesus and seized him. And one of those with Jesus, having stretched out his hand, drew out his sword, and when he struck the servant of the high priest, he cut off his ear. Then Jesus said to him, put the sword back into its place. For all who have taken a sword will perish by a sword. Or do you think that I cannot call upon my Father for help, and he will immediately place beside me more than 12 legions of angels? How then would the scriptures be fulfilled that it must happen like this? At that hour Jesus said to the crowds, have you come out as against an insurrectionist with swords and clubs to seize me? Day after day I was sitting in the temple teaching, and you did not seize me. But this has all taken place so that the writings of the prophets may be fulfilled. Then all the disciples abandoned him and fled. Now when they had seized Jesus, they led him to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders had gathered. And Peter was following him at a distance as far as the courtyard of the high priest. And when he went in, he was sitting with the servants to see the outcome. Now the chief priests and the whole Sanhedrin were looking for false testimony against Jesus, so that they might put him to death. But they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. And finally, after 2 came forward, they said, this man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days. And when the high priest stood up, he said to him, do you have no answer to what these men are testifying against you? But Jesus was silent. Then the high priest said to him, I charge you under oath by the living God that you tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said to him, You have said so. Truly I say to you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his robes, saying, He has blasphemed! Why do we still need witnesses? Behold, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? And they replied, He is deserving of death. Then they spit in his face and struck him with their fists, and some slapped him, saying, Prophesy to us, O Christ, who is the one who hit you? Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. And when one of the female servants approached him, she said, You also were with Jesus the Galilean. But he denied it before all of them, saying, I do not know what you are saying. And when he went out to the gateway, another saw him, and said to those who were there, This man was with Jesus the Nazarene. And again he denied it with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a little while, when those who stood by approached, they said to Peter, Truly you are also one of them, for even your accent gives you away. Then he began to curse and swear an oath, I do not know the man. And immediately a rooster crowed. Then Peter remembered the word Jesus had spoken, Before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. And when he went outside, he wept bitterly. Thank you for listening. To God be the glory.